In this video, I'm going to show you how you can recreate step by step my own content system that I'm using every day. And with this system, you have to add an input and then use this action field to create different types of content based on that input. For example, a simple idea like AI marketing mistakes in 2025 can turn into these LinkedIn carousel posts. It also generates the PDF that you can directly add to LinkedIn. It also created a long video script for YouTube that I could use. I can also do a short video script for Instagram Reels or TikTok. I can also create LinkedIn post drafts, and not just one, but a couple of them that are using different proven LinkedIn copywriting formulas. So I can pick the best one that works with my unique input. And then I'm also doing newsletter drafts based on this input, and a blog draft that is specifically optimized for AI search. So it's using all the best practices to be on ChatGPT, Perplexity, and other AI search engines, AI research modules to write this as well. And in my case, I'm using my YouTube video links. Then I'm transcribing them automatically within the system. And I can then use this transcription to create all of these other content types as well that I just showed you. And although this system is quite a monster, it's already a third version of it, but I'm using it all the time. And there are some updates. I got rid of some stuff that I didn't end up using. For example, any type of content posting and scheduling, I don't do it within the system anymore. I find that there are tools that do this better. For example, I'm using popular.com, but there are some others as well, like Puffer and so on. And I find that these tools are a bit easier to use than building all of this inside make.com. So that's why this content system is based on 3 pillars: a really good input, great prompts inside the AI modules, and the third part is that I always want to go in and do manual edits before I publish anything. That's why I'm keeping all the outputs in Airtable instead of pushing them directly to WordPress, for example. And another thing that I don't have here, I don't have AI generated images. I'm using my own templates for carousels, but I'm not generating AI images. And that's because my content strategy is always to optimize for trust. And trust is so easily lost if you're using AI generated images. But before I show you how to set it all up step by step, you need to know how much of these tools cost you. For example, I'm using Airtable to trigger the automation and also to store all of the outputs. And I love Airtable, but in order for this version to work, you need the paid plan. So you need to upgrade to this $24 per month team plan to get all the full features that I'm using right here. And I'm using make.com as my go-to automation platform. And this is really affordable. You can start out with the free plan. It includes 1,000 operations or credits per month, and this can last you a while. And then once you have to upgrade, it's only for $10.60 per month. So this is a really good tool. Another tool I'm using here is appify.com, which makes scraping different data really easy. In this system, I'm using it to scrape TikTok and YouTube videos and to get the transcripts from those. And Appify you can also use for free. It gives you $5 credits every month. And with most of the scrapers here, you can easily use it and not run out of these $5 credits. Another really important tool, which you can see in my automation here a lot, all of these gray modules are actually Open Router modules. And Open Router gives you access to all of the AI models out there. So you can have lots of freedom, and you only have to create this one Open Router account, and you have to upload some credits to keep using it. I think the minimum is $5, but it can last you a while. But this means you don't have to do a separate account with OpenAI, Anthropic, Perplexity, and so on. You only have to do this one account, and then inside make.com you can change which AI model you're using. And then the last tool is Placid.app, which is a paid tool. For 500 credits, you have to pay $19 per month. 500 credits means 500 images downloaded. And this tool I'm using to create these LinkedIn carousel images that I can also use inside Instagram and other platforms. So overall, you need less than $60 per month to build this whole system and keep it going. But the value of it is in thousands of dollars because you're saving so much time on freelancers, on AI experts, and your own valuable time that you could spend elsewhere. So let me quickly show you how it works. So in Airtable, you have to just create this new record. And then you have to add some type of input. You can just add an idea. This could be a few words like I added here, AI marketing mistakes in 2025. But it's better if this is well thought through concept that only you know and AI can't really make up. So this adds value if your ideas and inputs are really unique. And you can also paste a full blog post here, for example, that you have written. And then you can also add links that you want to see in the content. For example, I added this upsell to join my private community, and I added the link to it. So this is something that the AI modules will take into account as well if it's filled out. And there's also background information option here, which if it doesn't change, you can just copy and drag it here. and then you don't have to update it every time. But it makes sure that these AI models know exactly who's the author, what's the context, and it saves a lot of your time. So let's add an idea, AI marketing best practices. And next, once you have some input here, you're using this action field to create different content. This is only when you have a YouTube video link included here, and it has to be a public link. I can write the blog draft that is optimized for AI search. So this is creating an outline, doing research, doing fact checking, and so on. Then I'm also creating a newsletter from my input. Often it's based on a YouTube transcript. I'm writing LinkedIn posts. This again writes not just one, but several different versions based on what formulas work really well in LinkedIn. So I can choose the best one and make it my own. I can also create quote type images, and I can show you here. If I choose this action, it will now trigger the automation. It's showing as processing. And on the background, on the make.com side, the automation is running and it picked the route here. And now it's going through all of these Placid app modules. And once it's done, it's going to upload these images back to Airtable. And it's only going to take less than a minute. And now it's already done. So I can go back and you can see the images that it created here. So these templates I have set up on Placid. And this text is always a dynamic element that keeps changing. And these different templates are then easy to use on different channels. And I'm not just creating these templates, I'm also creating the LinkedIn post text versions that I can use with these images as well. So this is just one of the actions. But let's continue. I can also write short video scripts. I can write long video scripts. I can do a research report on any idea. I can create LinkedIn carousel images that I showed here. And I can also create the blog draft based on a YouTube video, which is really specific to my use case, but I'm sharing with you guys as well. And so it is different from the blog draft that's optimized for AI search. And then the last one is transcribing TikTok videos from any link. And once I have the transcriptions, either for TikTok or for YouTube, those transcriptions become inputs for other types of content like newsletter, blog draft, another TikTok script, and so on. And you can follow it step by step and recreate it, or you can join aimarketingmasters.com, which is my private community, where I have this automation blueprint that you can just upload to your make.com account, and it populates all of the prompts, all of the modules, and you just have to connect your accounts. And if you are a member, you can also get this Airtable-based template that you can copy, and so the implementation becomes much, much quicker. But if you want to do it step by step, just follow along and video if you need to get the prompt from the screen. So let's get into this. Okay, so let's get started with it. And first we're going to Airtable to set up the base for our content system. So first let's name it 2005 content system. And this is the third version already. So 3.0. And we can pick an icon here as well. Let's choose this one, for example. And then I want to rename this table as content, save. And I can then get rid of all of these pre-populated fields here. And then I can start building my own. So delete and delete. And the main field, I'm going to change this to auto number field type. And it's going to be the ID. Save. And I can drag it here as well. And then the next field I want is the ideas field. And this is a long text field. And I can enable rich text format here too. So let's name it ideas and create the field. So all of these first fields are going to be for inputs. And mainly I'm using inputs as simple ideas or longer texts here. Another one is YouTube links. So let's choose URL and let's name this YouTube link. Create the field. Sometimes I'm also using TikTok, especially if this is a talking head TikTok video, as the input as well. So let's add this URL field here as well. And let's name it TikTok link, create a field. And then I also want to have an option to add links. So let's do a long text field for links to include. And here again, I can enable text formatting and create the field. So for example, I'm using some affiliate links. If I want those to be included in the text in the right format, I can include those links in here and my workflow will take this into account. And another thing that I've noticed is very useful is to have the background information here as well. So let's add another long text field and let's name it the background information. And this is a field where I can add my own information. I can just copy, paste, or drag it down automatically. so I don't have to come up with new information all the time. But sometimes it's better if I can change my background information based on the type of content I'm creating. So I want AI to be aware of it. And any other insights I can just add to these ideas fields. So I don't think I need any more input fields here. So this means now I can add the action field, and this is a single select field type. And here, let's start adding the options. And this is where the automation gets triggered and sent into different routes based on what I'm choosing here, however much I have. And I don't have to have all of these included. I can just have a YouTube link and then choose some actions based on that. So since I'm using my YouTube content as the cornerstone content that creates other repurposed content types, and so the first option for the action I want to add here is to transcribe YouTube video from link. And then the next option is write blog draft for AI search. So whatever insights or input I'm giving it, I want this action to create the blog draft that is optimized for AI search visibility specifically. And I have videos about this topic on my channel as well, so check those out if you want to dominate AI search. Then the next option is to write a newsletter. This one I'm using a lot as well. Then the next one is write LinkedIn posts. Then the fifth one is create quote type image. And this uses Placid app to create an image that I can use in LinkedIn and in other social media where images work really well. The sixth one is write a short video script, mostly for TikTok, Instagram, and so on. The seventh action is write the long video script, that this is mostly YouTube. Then the eighth one is create a research report. So any idea you're adding to this table as an input, you can then let AI automatically do research based on it and output back to Airtable, where you can use it for other type of content as well. The ninth action is to create the LinkedIn carousel images, and these work really well, by the way. So I'm using these a lot, and I'm using Placid.templates for this. And then the last action that I have in this new and improved content system is to write a blog draft based on a YouTube video. So this is different from a blog draft that is optimized for AI search, just because the input is going to be different. And I want a blog post that's based on a YouTube video to use pretty much the exact content that I have in my video, while for the AI search blog post, I want this to do some research, I want this to do some fact-finding, fact-checking, and so on. So these are different types of blog posts, and that's why I have two different routes and two different actions for these. And then I'm also adding some status updates. So one is processing to show that I have triggered automation and stuff is going on the background, so I wouldn't keep clicking on my screen. And the last one is done, which is going to show me that the automation has run through everything and I have all the outputs added to the Airtable fields as well. So now we can create this field as well, and we can actually change the name. So let's change this to action, and let's add an emoji here as well. So this would be really visible, and we would know that this is something that we have to use in order to trigger the automation. And let's save this. And now you can see we have all of the input fields here that we can fill in and use in our content system. We have the action field, and now we also need to have the output fields where we gather all the information that we get from the workflows from this content system. So let's start from the last automation action that we talked about and create the long text form here. And let's make this for blog draft from YouTube video, and we can enable text formatting here as well and create the field. And then next one, let's do an attachment field type, and this is going to be LinkedIn Carousel PDF file. If you need to use LinkedIn carousels, you have to upload them as PDFs for some reason and not just regular image files. So we are creating images with Placid. We are then turning those into PDFs, so we could easily download them here from Airtable and upload them as PDFs to LinkedIn so they would appear as carousels. So let's make the next one just about the image files. So again, attachment field type, and let's call this in general image files. And let's create the field. Then the next one, let's do another long text field type, and let's call this research report. And we can enable rich text formatting here as well and create the field. Then another long text field for long video script, and let's create the field. And then the next one, another long text field, and this is for short video script. And let's enable rich text formatting here as well and create the field. Then let's add a field, another long text one for LinkedIn posts. And let's create this field as well. Then let's do another long text field for newsletter draft, and let's create this one. And then another one, long text field for blog draft for AI search. And let's create this one. And now the last ones I'm going to leave for transcribing YouTube, because these tend to be super long because the transcription is going to be output here as well. And if I open up these records, usually I had the YouTube transcript up front, and then I had to scroll a lot to get to the good parts. So within this improved system, I'm using YouTube transcript and all the scraped information at the end of this Airtable base. So let's do a single line text now for the title. I want to scrape this as well from YouTube. Then I want to do a description. So this is going to be a long text description. And this I can use for scraping TikTok description as well. Let's create the field. Then let's do another long text field for YouTube chapters. Let's create this field. And then the last one, another long text field, is going to be a transcript. And this could be a transcript for TikTok or YouTube. So this is going to be the last output for now. And we can now continue building this content system. And now we can go ahead and start building it in make.com. And here first we need to create the webhook. So this will know when we triggered automation on Airtable side. And for this we need to use the custom webhook. And quickly to explain why I'm not using any type of native triggers here where you don't need to use any coding or stuff like that. I like to use webhook here because this is going to be an instant trigger. So whenever I'm going to use this action, this is going to trigger the automation right away. So it's not going to wait for 15 minutes. And this is because this type of automation doesn't need to check if there's new information in every 15 minutes. It doesn't make sense for me to choose this action and then wait around. And maybe I'm not using this content system for a full week. Then the automation just checking every 15 minutes is going to use up my make.com credits, and it doesn't make sense. So instead of that, we are sending a webhook and information through a URL from Airtable to make.com. And what we need is a record ID, and I'm going to show you how to set it up. So here on make.com side, you need to add a new webhook, name it something you will recognize, or just leave the default name, and then just save it. And now it creates this URL that's going to be really important, and this is unique to you, so don't show it to anyone, and I'm going to delete this one after this video is done. So you can leave this window open for now, and now we go back to Airtable. And here we now have to set up an automation, and we want this automation to run when a record matches conditions. And the table is going to be our content table, and the condition we want is to have this action field to be any of. And then we select options, all of these 10 actions that we created here, and just leave the processing and done disabled here. So now we have the trigger details in place. And so now we have to add this run a script module, and it opens up this code type of thing, but don't worry, it's really easy to set up. So first you can just delete whatever is here, and then you have to add this small line of code. And if you are a member of aimarketingmasters.com, you can easily get it from here under this same automation workflow, or in the prompt section here where I have this webhook script for Airtable automation, and I'm using this with every automation that I'm building. So just copy this part here. And if you're not a member, just pause the video, take a screenshot, and ask AI to transcribe this for you. So now go back to Airtable, paste this code, and now go back to make.com and copy this webhook address to your clipboard, go back to Airtable, and now everything before the question mark, the whole URL, you have to replace. So delete this and paste your own hook URL here. And one more thing you need to do here on the left in the input section, add input variable, and the name has to be record ID, exactly how I've written it here and how it appears here as well. And then the value of it, just click on the plus icon, and here get Airtable record ID. And now we're done. We can finish editing. But before we save this Airtable automation as well, I want to add one more step, and this is to update the record. And now we have to choose the same content table. The record ID, use the plus icon again to choose Airtable record ID. And the field we want to update is the action field, and we want this to be set as processing. So this is for us to know that the automation has started running, so we wouldn't keep clicking on it and re-triggering it. So now that we have this set up as well, and I have to warn you, this run a script function is only available on a paid plan in Airtable, so you will have to use the $24 per month, I think for now, paid plan to use this feature. But I am using Airtable so much that this is definitely worth it for me. And if you want to use Google Sheets or something way worse for this, there is one video about it as well. Check out my YouTube channel. But if you're serious about building these systems, I would recommend to start using the paid version of Airtable pretty quickly. But okay, let's continue building this one then. So since we took this webhook URL, we can now save this. Okay, and now to test this out, we have to send one test record from Airtable to make.com. So you can see here it's waiting for data to come in. Then go back to Airtable. Let's add one idea here, AI marketing mistakes in 2025, for example. And then let's use one of these actions. So now you can see it's processing, which means this automation on Airtable side worked. And here on make.com, I can already see that the test record ID came through. So the connection has been established, everything has been set up correctly. So this is really good. Now we can continue building the automation, and the next module is going to be Airtable's get a record module, and then choose the base. For me, it's the 2025 Content System 3.0. By the way, if you're not a member of aimarketingmasters.com, you should join me right away, because you get this blueprint, the Airtable template, and so many other automations from there to use. So if you have used the blueprint and imported it here, make sure that you change the name of this Airtable base, because sometimes it shows the exact same name here, but it's actually trying to connect to my original base, and that connection doesn't exist. So change the name and make sure you are connecting to that newly renamed base here. Then choose the table, which is the content table, and then a record ID, we have to choose this dynamic element from the first step from the webhook. So click on this as well and save. And now we are starting to build all of these routes for different actions. And for this, we are going to use a module called router, and you can see it's here. So this gives an option to choose different actions for this automation to take different routes and actions based on what we want to do. So now we are going to set up the first route. And the first route is based on that first action that we have here, which is transcribe YouTube. And what we want to do here is to use this exact action description. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back here, and then I'm going to set up a filter. So you can just click here, and I'm going to name the label exactly as the action is named in my Airtable. And then the condition is that the action field here, so this dynamic element has to be added here, has to be equal to, and again, I'm going to paste this exact description. And now I can save this filter. And now whenever the action matches this description, it's going to take this route. And now to transcribe YouTube videos from any link, I'm using a tool called appify.com. And here every month you will get $5 credits to use for free, and you can get new credits every month. So you don't have to pay for this tool for a long time. It depends on the scrapers you're using, and this is really good. So here I'm using this YouTube scraper. So just go to Appify store and put the YouTube scraper into the search field here. And once you have found the YouTube scraper, then go ahead and create a task here. So you can do whatever title here. And then you can see pretty much the same interface as you saw on the actor, but there is a bit of difference between an actor and an actor's task. So if you're doing tasks, you can use the same scraper with different parameters for different tasks. So let's use a task here. So make sure that you have all of these same settings set up. So maximum videos per search term is going to be 1. I only want to scrape one video at a time, the one that I'm adding to my Airtable. So direct URLs, make sure that there is at least one URL here. I added just my YouTube channel URL. This is a placeholder actually for now. Then scraping subtitles, these are enabled. I don't add any filters, I don't add a date range here, and I'm not using any of these run option settings either. So once you have done all of this, start the scraper at least once, so it would easily appear in your recent scrapers list on make.com site. So once you have done it and scraped the one video, go back to make.com, and now on this route, we are going to add a new Appify module, and this is going to be run a task. Here you have to connect your Appify account, go and find the API keys, and there are instructions that help you set it up. It should be pretty straightforward. Then the task you can choose from this drop-down menu, and if you just did the one scraping as a test, it will show up here as the first one. So use the correct task here, and then what you have to do is you have to change this run synchronously setting to yes. And now also open up this show advanced settings. And now we have to input this JSON overrides. It sounds complicated, but I promise it isn't. So for this, we go back to appify.com. And then here, open up this JSON field. And it shows all of this code here. Just copy all of this, go back to make.com and paste all of it here. And now we have to change the URL that we have here as a placeholder and just remove all of this between the quotation marks and instead add the dynamic element of a YouTube link. So this will change every time. And then you can just save this module. And then the next module is also going to be Appify module, and this is called Get Dataset Items. Again, make sure that you're connected. And then the dataset ID is going to be default dataset ID. So this one here. And we can limit the scraping to only one because we're doing one video at a time, and then we can save it. So these two modules are going to scrape my YouTube video that I added as an input, and they are going to get all of the information that I need from this. But before I close this up with an Airtable module, I'm going to add one AI module to create chapters based on the transcript automatically. And for any type of AI modules, I'm going to use OpenRouter. This is my go-to solution now. So instead of creating lots of different accounts with different AI companies like OpenAI and Claude Anthropic and so on, you are just going to create one account with OpenRouter. And here you have to upload some credits. For example, I have uploaded only $10 a while ago, and it doesn't run out that quickly. And within this one account, you can use all of the AI models. You can see them here. So you don't have to do any other signups. It's all going to be included here, and you're going to be using the same credits that you have here for all of these different models. So go ahead, sign up. And once you have uploaded some credits, I think $5 is the minimum, you can go ahead and see the API keys here to connect this OpenRouter to your make.com as well. And once you have done that, add an OpenRouter module, create the chat completion. And then as the model, I want to use Claude Sonnet 4 because this is the best one right now. And what I really like about it is if Claude Sonnet 4 is unavailable for some reason, then it's going to have an automatic fallback to a similar model as well. So the automation won't break as easily. And then the messages, we are going to add a user message, and the prompt is going to be this one. You are a skilled YouTube video editor. Your task is to read the following transcript and generate a list of chapters. And I'm also showing it the structure of the output that I'm expecting. And now at the end of this, I'm adding the transcript. It's going to be available through this latest app Get Dataset Items module, but I haven't run through any test records yet, so that's why I'm not seeing it here yet. So let's do that. I can quickly save this module for now, and then I have to do one test run before I can continue. But for this, let's save the make.com automation. Let's set it running once, and now we have to add the test records. So we have to add at least one YouTube video link. So let's do the test record now. So I'm going to add one of my own YouTube video links here, and then let's choose the action that we have set up. And if things are working, it should now continue, through this filter. But for some reason, the filter didn't work. It didn't recognize this action. So let's see what I did wrong here. So it seems it lost the condition action. So let's add it back here. Maybe I forgot to save it properly. Let's save everything again, and let's set it running once again. And let's re-trigger this with this first action and see how it goes now. So it's getting the information through the webhook, and now it took the right route. You can see it here. Now Appify scraper is working. It takes a bit of time, and it should then go through all of the modules really quickly. Okay, and now it ran through, it got all the information, it scraped everything from that video, so this is really good. I think now we can properly set it up. So let's open up the OpenRouter module again. And now when we want to add the transcript, you can see here, Get Dataset Items module is now showing all the information. So now we have to find the subtitles here. Let's open up this module. And then we need to select this SRT dynamic element. So click on that. And now it should always get the right transcript to focus on when creating chapters. And we can save the whole thing. And now to close up the root, we are going to add an Airtable module, which is for updating a record. Make sure you're connected to the right base and not mine. Connect the table content. choose the right record ID from the first webhook. And then the first thing we want to do here at the end of every route is to unmap the action field and then choose done. So we can see on Airtable side as well that the automation has done its job and it has output all the information that we requested. And now scroll down here. We now want to add all of the information that the YouTube scraper got. So let's start with the title. And from the Appify module, let's find the title, which is named title. Let's click on this. Then description. Let's add this here as well. And this dynamic element is called text. Then the YouTube chapters, we are going to get the output from the last Open Router module. So for this, we're going to open up the message and then the content part, let's add this here. And now the transcript, the most important thing, we are going to get this from Appify as well. And again, I'm going to open up subtitles and choosing the SRT option here. And then we can save this Airtable module as well and save the whole thing. And now we can do one test run. Let's run this automation once. Let's go back to Airtable and let's re-trigger this YouTube transcription process here. And now we can see how it goes through everything and let's see if it gets all of the information we needed. And it's almost done. It's just now creating the chapters and updating Airtable. And now when we go back to Airtable, I can see the action is now set as done. And when we scroll back here, I can see the title of the video. I can see the description of the video correctly scraped. I can also see the YouTube chapters that it created based on the transcript. And this prompt actually isn't correct. I need to change it up a bit because it needs to look like this. So I will fix this right away. But overall, the transcript is here. And this is a really long text field, but this is the one that I can use to create now newsletters and other blog posts and stuff like that with the next actions that we're going to set up right away. But first, let's go and fix this. And here I can see my error. I have asked it to use this format. I'm going to use the hours here and maybe even adding the temperature a bit lower. Temperature is how random and free the AI model can be. So I'm going to decrease it to 0.5 and save it here. I'm going to save the whole automation for now, but let's not get stuck on this. We have so much more to build, and the next route is going to be write the blog draft for AI search. So let's copy this exact action, exactly how it's written, and then we're going to use this second route. Let's set up the filter first. So the label is going to be this exact description. The condition is going to be the action dynamic field from Airtable, and it has to be equal to this exact action field. So let's save this. And just to be quicker, I have pasted my whole AI search visibility draft creation workflow here from my other automations. If you have followed my channel, you have seen this already, but I'm going to show you quickly how to set everything up and what I have used here. So basically I'm starting with an outline, and this has an Open Router module using Claude Sonnet 4 again. And the prompt is optimized for AI search visibility, and it gives the structure. And now I have to update these inputs because it's from another automation. It doesn't work right away. So the inputs to use to come up with the blog draft, I want this to be able to use my ideas field. Then I also wanted to be able to use the links to include, also the background information. And if it is available, I wanted to also have an option to use the YouTube information. So YouTube link, title, description, and the full transcript as well. If it's not available, this is not going to be added here. So that's the good thing about using these dynamic elements. And then I can just save this module. The next module is going to be a research module. And for this, I'm using an AI model called Perplexity Sonar Pro. And in order to use it this way, you have to enable this mapping. And when you go to Open Router and choose models, you can choose, for example, Perplexity here in the search. And here's the Perplexity Sonar Pro. I can copy this model ID, go back to make.com, and just paste it here. So that's the way you can use different models, even if they are not in the top 20 here. But in my opinion, Perplexity is the best for research, at least for now. I might be changing it, and that's the good thing about Open Router. I can change the model so easily without changing the prompts itself. So let's just save this research part. And then let's go and change the prompt a bit. This also gives really clear instructions on what type of research I'm expecting, what type of structure. And then the article outline is coming from the last step. So this is from the other Open Router module. And here you have to use this choices, message, content, dynamic element. And then the inputs, again, I want to give all of the original inputs, and I have to update this again because it's from another automation. So here again, I want to use the idea, the links to include, the background information, and if available, YouTube link, YouTube title, YouTube description, and the transcript. And even though I mentioned there is another route for YouTube-focused blog posts, I still want to have the option to create AI visibility-focused blog posts based on the YouTube input. So that's why I'm adding this option here as well. And then I can save this research module. And the next one is going to be a content writing module. I have to update the inputs. So it already has the outline from the previous step and also the research data. This is how you can add those here. And I also want to add the original idea inputs as well to get the best context out of it. So again, I'm adding ideas and then background information, then the YouTube link, YouTube title, YouTube description, and transcript if available. And then here I have a separate call to actions and links to include section. And here I'm going to use this links to include dynamic element as well. And since this is a writing module, I'm using a system prompt as well, which is using a prompt that's humanizing AI text. It bans lots of overused AI words, and it makes the editing process much quicker afterwards. And the model I'm using is Claude Sonnet 4, again, because it's the best writing model. And I have also enabled automatic fallback. And so you can save this content writer module as well. Then, because AI sometimes still gets things wrong, I'm using a fact checker module. So to quickly go over it, it uses the inputs, the complete article from the last step, also research the sources, and then there are instructions on how to get the output that I want to get. The model, again, I'm using Perplexity Sonar Pro. So once you have this set up, you can save it. Then based on the fact checker report, some things are going to be wrong. I need a new fact finding AI module. So here I'm giving the inputs as the fact checker's report from the last step, and then also the article draft original, the first one that I created. And I'm asking it to go and find the better facts, basically. And again, I'm using the research model Perplexity Sonar Pro. So once you have this set up, you can save it. And the last module is going to be a content rewriter based on the newly added facts. So here again, I have to add some context. Most of it is already here, the original draft that I need rewritten, the fact checker's report, and the updated facts as well. And here's also an option to add the calls to action and links. So this dynamic element I can get from the first Airtable module, links to include. And then again, since this is writing an article, it's using a content humanizing prompt as a system prompt. And I'm using an AI model, Claude Sonnet, for this. So once this is done, you can save it. And again, the last step is going to be updating the Airtable field. Connect the right base first. Make sure this is not my copy, but your own one. Then here you can see what sometimes happens. It's trying to use that original flow, and it's now showing me two different tables, but actually only one is correct. Since the first one gave me an error, the second one was correct, and I should probably name the tables a bit differently in the future, but whatever. So record ID, again, from the first webhook module, you have to add this here. The action, we need to unmap this and choose done. And now we can just output some stuff. So for example, in this research report, we could add this fact checker report. For example, let's open it up here, choices, message, content. And then let's split it up a bit. And then let's add the new fact finder, the last module for research, this content here as well. And then blog draft for AI search. This is for the last content rewriting module. So let's open up the choices, message, content. Now it's done. So we can save this. And we can save the whole automation. And now let's quickly add another route, the third one. And this is going to be write the newsletter. So let's go back to make.com. Let's set up that filter, the label write newsletter. Condition is action equal to write newsletter and save. And now this module is also pasted from another automation just to make it quicker here, but I'll still show you quickly how to do it. So here, this prompt is really optimized for my personal newsletter. So make sure that you come in here and change everything according to your name, your background, who's your target group, and so on. First, I need to update these inputs. So let's add the idea, the links to include, the background information, the YouTube link, YouTube title, YouTube description, and transcript as well. And here, actually, let's move this links to include to this part at the end. Okay, and since this again is about writing, it's using the content humanizing prompt and throw Claude Sonnet 4 as the AI model. And I have also set the temperature a bit lower, 0.7 here, but it's a matter of taste, really. So just remember, this main prompt you have to update because it's so focused on what I'm doing. So let's save this. And again, the next module is going to be here to update the record, connect the right base, find the right table, then add the record ID, then unmap the actions field and mark it as done. And now the newsletter draft field, let's find this, the last AI module, choose open up the choices, message and content. And it's done, we can save it. Now the next action is write LinkedIn posts. Go back to make.com, add a new route. Let's add the filter up first, paste it here, choose action equal to write LinkedIn posts and save. And I'm going to paste the modules again from another automation. And for this route, I'm actually doing research for those LinkedIn posts as well. So the model I'm using is Perplexity Sonar Reasoning Pro, so a bit different model. I'm experimenting with these a lot, and you can experiment as well. And here, again, we have to update the input. If you are using my blueprint, it should all be pre-populated here, and you don't have to change much, just to go over and see if everything is looking correct. So I'll quickly add the inputs here as well. Ideas, links to include, background information, YouTube link, and I might want to use TikTok link here as well. Maybe I have scraped some idea here that I want to use in LinkedIn. So I will add the TikTok link as well. Then the title, description, and transcript, which can then be either YouTube or TikTok, or maybe it's just a basic idea and some links or background information to include. I can then save this module. The next module is about writing the posts. And here again, you have to come in and update this prompt because it's using my name, my background, and all the other information. So make sure you make it your own, or make it super generic so you can use just the input about the background field in Airtable to change it up, whatever. So for example, if you need to create LinkedIn posts for different accounts and different personas. Here again, let's change the inputs, ideas, background information, and I will add the links to include here under the CTAs and links to include. And the original input, I can also add the YouTube link or TikTok link, then also the title, description, and the transcript. And here it also uses the output from the research module that was the last one. And it will also use the content humanizing prompt as a system prompt and Claude Sonnet 4 as the AI model. So let's save this. And again, we need to do another Airtable module, but I'm just going to clone the previous one. And now I just have to change a few things. It's already connected to all the right places, but instead of the newsletter draft, I now have to add the LinkedIn posts. And these are coming from the last module, choices, message, content, and I can save the whole thing. And now the next one is going to be create the quote type image. This is a bit more interesting. So let's add the filter. Let's name the filter, great quote type image. Condition is going to be about this action, and it has to equal this exact action description. And so first I'm going to create the module that's going to create the text part for the social media post. I'm going to add the inputs first, ideas, links to include, background information, YouTube link, TikTok link, title, description, and transcript. I have the content humanizing prompt as the system prompt and using Claude Sonnet for the writing AI module. So I can save this. Then the next module is going to be creating a title that goes on the template. And here I'm asking it to use this input idea and create maximum 65 character sentence or questions, including spaces that will summarize the key point, be controversial, and hook attention. And I just have to add this input here as well. And the input is from the last module, from choices, message, content. And I'm using Claude Sonnet 4 here as well. So I can now save this. And now I'm using this new tool called Placid.app. So I have this module already set up, but basically you have to go and create an account here. It is a paid tool. For $19 per month, you get 500 credits. One image generation is 1 credit. But I have set up these 3 different quote type of images templates. So you have to set up your own, and I'll quickly show you how to do it. So basically you will choose different elements that you can change. You can add an image, you can add this type of text form, and then based on what you want to change, for example, I want to change this text mostly. So this is now a dynamic element. So you can see it here on the right. So this will be available for me to change inside make.com. And then if I go back and open up this Placid module, you can see I'm using this template. You can get all of your templates from this list. And then I also have the image layer as dynamic, but I don't really want to change the images for now, but maybe you want to use different images of yourself if you have the images changing over time, but I'm not doing for now. So I'm using just the title text part. So this dynamic element I can fill up here with the output from the last AI module from Open Router. So open up the choices, message, and add content here. And then just save it. And then I have 2 other templates set up. So this is just based on the different sizes. So this is portrait mode. And here the text part I again have to change. It's going to use the same text from the last element. And the third one is in landscape mode. And again, the text element needs to be from the last AI module here. And I can save it. And as usual, the last module is going to be an Airtable module that's going to update everything. And I just have to change this up a bit. So I have to reconnect with the right base, then refresh this table, then choose the right table, then make sure the record ID is here. The action is going to be done here. And now I'm going to add these image files here. So add an item, and I just need to add the file URL. So let's take the square image first. So use the image URL dynamic element here, then add another item, and the file URL for the next one is here, and then the third one is going to be here. And then we also created the text part of the post, so let's add it here to the LinkedIn post part. And so this is the first AI module, so let's get this output to Airtable as well, and we can then save it. And I can save the whole automation for now as well. And now the next one is going to be writing a short video script. So let's go to make.com and add a new route here. And let's then set up the filter. Condition is the action and equals to this action description, and save. And again, I'm copying this from another automation and just connecting it here. And for this, the prompt is super simple. I'm using the system prompt to make it sound like a human. But overall, I just have to, again, update the inputs. So I'm adding the same idea. Links to include, background information, possible YouTube link, possible TikTok link, title, description, and transcript. And here I'm using Anthropic Claude Sonnet 4 again. So save. And the last Airtable update a record table needs to be set up as well. So here again, record ID from the webhook. The action has to be done. And then I'm going to add the short video script output to the right place, right here. And then I can save this module. And the next one is going to be a long video script. Usually it's a YouTube script. So again, let's create a new route. Let's set up the filter. Let's paste it here. Condition is the action, and it has to equal this description, and save it. And again, I'm pasting the module from another automation. I'm connecting it here. And then I have to make some small changes to the prompts. And here again, I have used really specific instructions to my business. And so you have to go in and change this prompt to make it your own. But in the meantime, the inputs are going to be the usual ones. So I'm quickly going to add these. And title and description. And the last is transcript. And as usual, system prompt is for humanizing the AI outputs. And the model is Anthropic Claude 4. So I can save this. And I can clone this previous Airtable module and just update it here. And I can just find the long video script, place here, and add the output from the AI module. And I can get rid of this short video script. So save. And let's go back to Airtable. And the next one is about creating a research report. So let's go back, add a new route, add a new filter for the route, name it, add the condition. And then let's save it. And again, I'm pasting a module that I have already used in some other automations, connect it. And then let's make sure that all the prompts are correct here. So here, let's add the input. It can be an idea to research. And I think I'm going to add the option to have YouTube link or TikTok link or just the background information, and why not the links to include as well. Maybe it makes sense. So if these are empty, it's not going to be added here anyway. So just in case, let's add those. And also the title, description, and transcript. And the model I want to use here is Perplexity Sonar Pro. So we can then save this. And then let's clone the other Airtable module so we can have a lot of the information already pre-filled. Let's open it up and let's remove the previous input and find the research report place here and add the AI output here. So now it's done and save. So the next one is interesting. This is creating LinkedIn carousel images. So this is something I'm using a lot. So let's add the new route. Let's set up the filter. Let's name it, let's set the action field, and we can save it. So this is going to be a big one, so I need to have some room here, and I'm going to paste this flow from another automation as well, or from my previous content system that I have already built, and so I can reuse this. So this is a monster. And so I'm going to connect it, and I can get rid of this empty module, and now it kept the filter for this 9th route. And now I have to update everything. So basically here again, I'm using Placid app and its templates. So I'm using these 3 templates. So this is the title template. And here I only have this title text as a dynamic element that I'm changing. Everything else is already set up and I don't want to change these. Then I also have the body slide, and this has 2 dynamic elements. This title text, this is the header text element here, and the body text, which is a dynamic element you can see here. So I'm creating several of these body text images. And then I also need a closing page, and for this I have the 3rd template set up. And this has this one text box that is also a dynamic element that I'm changing. And this call to action here is always static, so I can only change it within the template. So let's quickly go step by step and I'll show you what's included in everything. So first we need to create the text for those carousel images. So let's open up the first Open Router module for this. And this is asking for a short listicle with 5 items. So I'm always creating one type of carousel. It has the title slide, a closing slide, and 5 body slides in between. And I'm also giving it really clear directions. And again, I have to have the inputs here. So I'm adding all of this here. And once I have all the inputs, I also have the system prompt that humanizes the content. And the model I'm using is Claude Sonnet 4. So I can then save this one. Then the next one is just extracting the title out of this. So I'm just giving the input, which is the last module, the full text. So I'm getting this from Open Router's module here, and I'm asking it to take just the first title field text and output it without any intro or outro text after or before. So this is a small thing I'm going to then use on the title slide. And the next module is Placid.app's title slide that I showed you. So the Placid app needs to use the correct template, and then this text box dynamic element needs to have the LinkedIn carousel title from the last AI module. So let's add it here and save it. And then I have the first body slide. So now I'm using this AI module just to extract the right content from this first AI module that created the full text for all of the slides. So now I just have to make sure that the input is using this original LinkedIn Carousel AI module, have it here as a dynamic element, and then save it. And the next one is extracting the body text. The previous one was extracting the title. So the prompt is just take this input and output just the first slide body text. So we just have to make sure the input is here. And of course, if you have used my make.com blueprint and an Airtable template, you don't have to do any of this manually. It's already pre-populated here. So this is a bit of setup, but totally worth it. This is the first body text slide where I had 2 elements then, title and the body. So here, header text, make sure that it's using this extraction of first slide heading, this output here. And then the body text must use the first slide body text output from here, and it already is. So save it, and then just repeat the same thing for all the other body slides. I'm going to quickly do it now. And now I have done this for all 5 body slides, and now the last one is just the same thing for the closing slide. So just make sure it's using the right input here, And for closing slide, you have to choose the new template because it looks different. And then the dynamic element, you just fill up with the previous closing slide title. So then you can just save this. And we can continue to the end part of this. So we are also creating the LinkedIn post text part. Along with the carousel post, you also have to add some text. The post has to go together with the content that is on the carousel images. I'm using a prompt that's asking AI to use lots of different copywriting formulas to work specifically on LinkedIn. So I could pick my favorite based on what works best with the input. And I have also said that it's using input number 1, which is a LinkedIn carousel post, and input number 2, which is the original information the post is based on. So basically the background information and all of that. So let's add all of this. So first, input number 1 is the carousel text. We have to scroll down. So this is here, the first module. And then input number 2 is the original input. And here again, I'm adding the same input fields as I did with all of the other modules. Okay, and now as I can see, it's missing a system prompt. So I want to add this as well. So this is for content humanizing. And this I'm taking again from aimarketingmasters.com, where I have lots of different prompts available for all the members. So this is here for me to copy, and then I can go back and paste it as a system prompt. And then I can save the whole thing. And then really important part, turning these images into a PDF. So for this, you should sign up for this tool called pdf.co. And I'm using free credits so far. So I think you're able to use it for free for quite a while. And once you have the account set up, just come here to make.com, add this module. And this module name is Convert from Images into PDF. And here, make sure that you have all of the same settings as you can see here. So input type is input links, and then input links. These are all coming from the Placid app outputs that we just set up through this automation flow. And what you have to do is you have to add commas in between these URL dynamic elements. And you can see this instruction down here as well, in case you forget it. And then the export type should be download the file. And then just save it. And now finally, the last Airtable update the record module. So here, again, make sure that you connect it to the right base and the right table first. And now the record ID is already here. The action I should add as done. So picking it from here. And now a LinkedIn carousel PDF, I can add the item here. File URL. And this I will get from the last pdf.co module, the URL here. And the next one, image files, I will also add the files here so I can use them separately. For example, for Instagram, where you have to use image files and not the PDF. So here I can just add the items one by one. Let's start with the title slide. Let's use the image URL, then add another image file. And then find the first slide image URL. And then the same thing for all of the 5 body images and the closing slide as well. And then one more thing, LinkedIn post text. We should add it here. And we will take it from the last AI module like this. So add it here. And then you can just save this. And we are done with the most time-consuming part of the automation now. But at the same time, it's one of those that creates a lot of value as well, especially if you're using LinkedIn a lot. So now we only have one more, which is write the blog draft based on a YouTube video. So let's add this route as well. Let's set up the filter for this route, paste the name, set the action, and equals to this description. And then we can save it. And now the first module, I'm again copying from previous workflow. So I'm doing additional research for this blog post as well, even though it's based mostly on my YouTube video. So I'm adding my instructions, and the input has to include ideas because maybe I have some additional instructions. So I can use the ideas field here, the YouTube link, links to include, background information, title, description, transcript. And I'm using Perplexity Zoner Reasoning Pro here. So I can save this module, drag it a bit here. Then I'm going to paste the next module here, which is blog draft writer. And these instructions are based on using YouTube video transcript as an input. And make sure that you have already done the transcription action beforehand and then use this route to create the blog post as well. And let's add the inputs here as well. Ideas, YouTube link, then calls to action and links to include. Let's add it here. Background information. And then YouTube title, description, transcript as well. And then sources for linking. Now I'm using this previous AI module that did some research for me. So I'm adding this here as well. I have the content humanizing prompt here as a system prompt, and I'm using Claude Sonnet 4. So now I can save this, and I can clone this Airtable module and end this route with this update Airtable as well. So here, record ID, action marked as done. Let's delete this research report part here. And block draft from YouTube video input is going in this correct field right here. And I can actually add the research report part here as well. So let's add it here using this first research module's output. Okay, and save. And I can save the whole thing here as well. And we should be done, but I actually forgot one more action. We should also add the option to scrape the transcripts of TikTok videos and not just YouTube videos. So let's add this as an additional action here. So let's add a new option, 11th one, and it's transcribe TikTok video from link. Let's drag it up here and let's copy this. Now going back to make.com, we need to add one more final route. Let's set up the filter, label, condition is the action, and it must equal this description. And let's save it. And now to transcribe a TikTok video, it first, of course, needs to be a TikTok video where Sari is speaking. So for this to work, we have to go back to appify.com. And then go and find TikTok data extractor from Appify store. Here again, let's create a task. And when you open up this task, make sure you have all of the same settings here. So the number of videos per hashtag, profile or search is 1. The profiles part is empty. The search part is empty. Video URLs. Now add one TikTok video URL here. Again, this is going to be a placeholder, so it doesn't matter which one it is. And then the last option is to download the TikTok videos. I have included all of these options here. And then the run options, I haven't touched any of this. So once you have all of this set up, run through this once. So it's going to scrape the one video at least once. And if you have this done, it will appear in the make.com module more easily and you can find it quicker. And so in make.com, let's add this new Appify module, run a task, and let's find the correct task. For me, it's this one. It's already appearing here because I ran through it. Run synchronously, mark this as yes, and then open up the advanced settings. And now go back to Appify, to this task page, and click on this JSON option here. And then let's copy this whole thing, go back to make.com and add it to here inside the input JSON overrides. And now again, we have to remove this placeholder TikTok video link inside the quotation marks. Let's remove this and let's replace it with TikTok link dynamic element here. Add another Appify module, this time for getting dataset items. We need the dataset ID here, and it's down here, default dataset ID. The limit we can set to 1 because we are only getting one video at a time. And so we can save this. And then with TikTok, there are a few extra modules needed. So we have to add this iterator module. And how to set it up, you have to find these subtitle links. So again, we need them from this get dataset items field, but we don't have the information here because we don't have the test record that we have run through it. So for now, let's close it up. Let's save the whole automation. And then we need to run this automation with one test record. So let's let it run once. So now it's waiting for the information. And let's go back to Airtable. You can save this. And by the way, we first need to go back to Airtable automation as well. We added one more action. So we need to update this automation here. So let's go back to the trigger field. So when action is any off, we need to now enable this transcribe TikTok video from link as well. And let's update it. So now it should be working, but we still need one test record to send through this automation to get going with the rest of the flow. And so let's send one test record. So I'll include the TikTok link where I'm talking. So it should have a transcript available. So let's choose this trigger field. And let's see on make.com side if it's happening. Okay, and now it went through everything and it has all of the scraped information here. And we can open up everything we want to see. And for example, here, if I open up video meta, I can see subtitle links option. but it's empty here, but there is a download address and some type of URL. So this is going to be a bit trickier than with YouTube scraping, but don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So basically we need a few extra steps. So I'm going to paste this here as well. So first we need an iterator, and this is another tool that Airtable has included here as a router that's really helpful. And so here we have to find the same subtitle array. So click on this part here, and then we can save this. Now we also have this HTTP module, get a file, but before that we're also adding a language filter here. So we only want to extract English transcription. So here the condition needs to be the language, but again, I don't see this option here, so we need to run through this test once more. So let's close it up for now. Let's save this automation, and let's see if I can run this module only. And let's see what happened. No, I can't. Okay, so in order to get the right language dynamic element for this filter, we have to run through the test data once more. So let's set up the test record again, and let's set this running. Let's wait for the webhook to trigger, and on Airtable side, to add a new record, going to add a new TikTok link, and let's add this 11th action here as well. And now back to make.com. So now Appify is running again, and hopefully it finds the transcript files now, so we can finally set it all up. And let's see what it found. And yes, for this video, it got a bunch of stuff as an output, so I'm feeling hopeful. So let's see if we can set up this language filter properly now. So the condition needs to be language. So let's choose it from here, and it has to equal to English US. So let's save it. And then the next HTTP module, get a file. This needs to use the download link, so you can get it from here, and you can save it. And now we're going to do the last Airtable update the record module. So let's get it from here. Let's set up the correct base, correct table, record ID from the first webhook, and then the action again unmap and choose done. And then let's find the transcript part and add this data here. And then we can also add the TikTok video description. So in the description field, let's go to Appify's Get Dataset Items module. And here the text part adds the description here as well. And we can actually get the cover picture of the TikTok video here as well. So if we go to the image files part, add an item, file URL, we go to the Appify Get Dataset Items module. And here we have to find this cover URL module and add it here. And now we can save the whole automation. And actually, before we do that, if I zoom out, it looks really messy. And then I can use this auto align feature down here, and voila, it looks way better. And I can save this now properly and turn it on as well. So whenever I'm using now this Airtable base for creating content, it now works automatically, and I don't have to look here at all, unless I want to change the prompts or do something different here. So this is it. This is my content system as I'm using it right now. I have gotten rid of a lot of the stuff that I used in previous systems, and I'm probably adding more stuff as this grows, but I'm of course going to share it all on aimarketingmasters.com. So if you are a member, go and get this blueprint and Airtable-based template and set it up really quickly for yourself. I'm going to help you as well if you need any help. If you're not a member, I think it's prime time to join. So I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you next week. Bye!